Welcome to 24-Hour Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As you can see by the thumbnail, we're doing a 2023 NFL mock draft. This mock draft will be a little different. I'm not going through the process. Rather, I'm showing you my picks, and we're going to have a couple talking points throughout this draft, talking about what I have up to this point and what might change after the draft combine. So this is my official mock draft 2.0, and after the combine, after every position has tested, then I'm gonna give another mock draft of what I think the mock draft changed, if anything. So now I want to get to what I have. Let's get straight into it. Let's go. Okay, so as you see, I have the Colts trading to the #1 pick for Bryce Young. I think short and sweet, simply put, Bryce Young is the best quarterback out of all of these four we're talking about in the first round. The only thing is the size, and I think the measurements at the draft combine will play a huge part into this. But there's no way I'm passing up on Bryce Young. I can't let him slide. I think he's just too good to look at his size. #2, I got the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud, I think he's the best passer of the football. He's not perfect, but I think he's the best passer. Down the field accuracy, over the middle accuracy, short-term accuracy. He does it all as far as dropping back, seeing it, firing. So we talk about the improvising. A lot of people say he's wearing his hat after that Georgia game. That was the game that really improved his stock because he showed improvisation skills. He showed that he can move on the run. He can get outside the pocket and still throw on the run. He showed all of the above, but he didn't show that all season. I'm the guy that says if you don't have to run, why would you? So I have CJ Stroud going #2. That's my second best quarterback in this draft. #3, I got Will Anderson. I got Will Anderson because I think he's just a classic blue chip prospect. I don't want to say can't miss, but this is the closest you may even get to a can't miss prospect. I think he's in that category. He's in that ballpark. I have the Cardinals going edge instead of interior defensive line with Jalen Carter, and that's going to take me into my fourth pick. So #4, I got Jalen Carter, and I understand the questions, reasonably so. It's a tragic situation. Prayers go out to anybody and everybody who was involved. But we just don't know how this affects his draft stock. And I don't want to give any fake news. I don't want to lead any news until we see how does it truly affect the stock. Like I said, prayers go out to those involved. #5, I have Tyree Wilson. I think Tyree Wilson comes in right away, off the edge, run defense. Kind of raw as a pass rusher, but he can develop into that due to his athletic profile. I like him as an athlete. About 6'5", 6'6", long arms. Can do it all off of the edge. And this is a team that needs edge. They got guys off of the edge, but they don't have classic defensive ends. I think he's that 3-4 defensive end. He can come right in, play right there. Got a good defense. #6, I got Devon Witherspoon. This is for the Detroit Lions. I think Devon Witherspoon is just one of those guys that I call a dog. I like him. He's good, and he knows he's good. It's a difference. It's a difference when you're good and you don't really know that you're good. He's good, and he knows it, and he's going to let you know after every pass deflection, every interception, and every big hit. He has that it factor for me, and that's why I have him over Christian Gonzalez. At #7, I got Peter Skoronski, and this may throw some people for a loop. I think he's the best offensive lineman in this draft. Josh McDaniels. What is his job security? If I'm Josh McDaniels, I would take the veteran quarterback route and really prove that I can win games, that I can galvanize a locker room. And then maybe if we have to adjust quarterback later on, a couple years down the road, we do it then. Now it's about building a team. We got Renfro, we got Waller, we got Adams. I'm not bringing in a rookie in that situation. I'm bringing in a guy who I know can be an impact player right away this year, Peter Skoronski. Talk about the guard profile. We don't think he can stick at left tackle. That's fine. We can move him down the guard. I would personally let him stick at left tackle. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I have him at #7. #8, I got Myles Murphy, and this even threw me for a loop. So I know it's going to throw you for a little bit of a loop. I'm not really sure with Myles Murphy. But I think when you're the Atlanta Falcons, he's one of the best players on the board. I wouldn't really go secondary because what's the point of having all those corners if you can't even get a pass rush? So I had to go Myles Murphy. Edge was in play here. Lucas Van Ness, another guy who's in play right here. And I like it, you know. Like I said, another guy, I don't want to compare him to Tyree Wilson, but I think they both come in and defend the edge well against the run. They're just going to have to develop that pass rushing skill set, develop those pass rush moves. Got Myles Murphy at 8. #9, I have Will Levis. And this was the interesting thing to me because I know people have Will Levis going #1, going #2. Better than Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I'm not in that boat. You can go ahead and sink the ship. I could jump off myself. Will Levis is my 3rd rated quarterback in this thing. I think he has the tools to become good. But I'm not drafting the guy number one just because he has the tools. I'm sorry. Even in college, Patrick Mahomes, even what he is now, I wouldn't have drafted him number one based on what I saw in college. It's just not, it's not safe. Because we've also seen guys with that skill set, even better skill sets, looking like coming out of college, and it just didn't work. But I think Carolina is the perfect fit because they're probably going to go that bridge quarterback route. And then they can bring him in probably a year down the road, probably 2 years down the road. I don't see him starting day one, especially if he goes to Carolina, but develop those tools, getting your mind right, reading defenses. Frank Reich, he loved Carson Wentz. This is some of that same stuff that you're getting, but with better leadership. So I love this pick. I think this is the ideal spot for Will Levis. Number 10, I got Christian Gonzalez to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is a splash play. Another corner who has that it factor. And people talk about Devon Witherspoon, his size. I'm not in that ballpark. I think he's about 5'11", 6 feet. You know, he's about 180, 185, and he's not huge, but when has a huge corner really been a make or break? When has it been a make or break? And I understand if you think Witherspoon and Gonzalez are close, that could be what makes him jump Devon Witherspoon. But I have him right here going to the Eagles. Another corner. He's good. He's going to tell you that he's good. He knows that he's good. Ball skills, athletic, probably going to test out the gym. I mean, these corners are going to do something special at a draft combine. But now, after this top 10, I'm going to just go through the 11 through 20 picks, and I'm going to just have some talking points with some interesting picks that you may see and say, what are you doing? So I got Paris Johnson at 11. I got Quentin Johnson at 12, but the pick that I want to talk about in this thing is Brian Branch to the New York Jets. I understand. You know, you want to go tackle Broderick Jones. You want him. All right. And maybe you trade up to get Skoronski or Paris Johnson, but I just don't know if Broderick Jones is an impact player right away. I'm not big on stashing guys in the first round. I'm just not. Unless it's a quarterback, I'm not really trying to stash a guy. And with Mekhi Becton, I know you have some question marks, Dwayne Brown, other guys like that, but I think Brian Branch is a value pick. One team is going to jump him. Brian Branch is not getting outside of the top 20. He's a safety that is going to be an impact player. We're talking defensive player of the year. We're talking defensive rookie of the year when we're talking about Brian Branch. And I love him. I think he comes in the slot. He does it all. Tackles, covers, everything out of the slot. Think of Kyle Hamilton, but smaller. And now we get him on the Jets. Sauce, Michael Carter. We got those guys. We got a defense ready-made, and we're adding him in. Our safety room, we can use a bolster. And he's just going to do it all. Whatever you ask him to do, I think he can do it. I think he can blitz. I think he can cover. I think he can stop the run. A value pick. Like I said, just one of those players that you have to get. You can't pass up. Everybody's not going to pass up on Brian Branch. And that's what I have right here with the New York Jets getting him. Another pick I can talk about, Michael Mayer, 15. People want to talk about Dalton Kincaid. No. I understand Dalton Kincaid is a good tight end. But Michael Mayer, I like football players. I understand the athletic profiles. He may be a receiving tight end. He can do all that. And Michael Mayer might not run a 4.6. He might not run a 4.5. But I like football players. And I think on the field, you're going to produce. I think you can catch passes. You may not have the elite separation skills. That's fine. Block, catch when we need you to. Do that. I got you at 15. Joey Porter to Washington. Solid pick. Another pick that I want to talk about is Kalijah Cansey to Detroit. I think he screams 3-tech, all right? He screams 3-tech when he jumps off the screen. Twitchy for a defensive tackle. Does it all. I think him, Aiden, whatever they want to do, if they really want to add a true nose into that thing, I don't think Kalijah Cansey is a true nose. But I think if they add him, that defensive line is looking scary. And we also got James the Problem Houston. I like what we got right there. Number 19, I got Anthony Richardson. You probably think, why would Tampa Bay ever do this? How did he even get to 19? Top 4 quarterback. We're talking about top 10. How did he get to 19? One of these quarterbacks is going to fall in my philosophy. I don't think all 4 quarterbacks are going top 10. I think you may see you're going to see CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. You're going to see Levis or Richardson. And I think the draft combine plays a huge role in this because I don't have all of them going top 10. One is going to fall. Tampa Bay, whatever you do, Kyle Trask, whatever you want to do this season, you need more talent in the room. Anthony Richardson is all the talent you could ever need. You have to coach it up, obviously, but that's a good value pick, especially at 19, to get a guy who may turn into the best quarterback out of this draft if coached properly. Number 20, we have a trade. I got the New York Giants trading with the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks get 25 in another mid-round pick, get some more depth in the draft. But for 20, there's really nothing for the Seahawks to get right here that they can't get at 25. They get another mid-round pick. New York has to jump up because they need a receiver. I understand linebacker, corner is in play. They need a receiver. I don't want to watch that again with Saquon Barkley's getting bell-cowed to death. I'm sorry. Daniel Jones, whatever they do with him. Some people even say Bijan Robinson is in play because they want to reset the running back market. I could kind of understand that. But right here I have you going receiver, Zay Flowers. I think he has potential to be a splash player. He has potential to possibly be the best receiver in this draft. I'm going out and saying it. We can see right here I got Addison going to New England. And I got Quentin Johnson going to Houston, Texas. But Zay Flowers, there are a little bit of questions, separation, size, couple things, but if properly used, watch out for Zay Flowers. Another pick I want to talk about, Dalton Kincaid to Jacksonville. I think Evan Ingram is out that door. You don't want to take a step back. You throw in Dalton Kincaid, plug him and play him. Your offense is good. You got Calvin Ridley coming back, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. Don't really need to say more. Corner could be in play. I like guys, Clark Phillips, Emmanuel Forrest. Those guys could be in play, but I think Dalton Kincaid just makes all the sense in the world for me. Talking about the corners, I got Deonte Banks, Emmanuel Forbes. You see no Cam Smith, you see no Kelly Ringo. You just don't. I'm not high on those two guys like I was, but Deonte Banks, Emmanuel Forbes. Like I said, I'm interested to see how these guys test, and I'm really looking at the drills. How fluid are you in coverage? How fluid are you in your transitions, in your speed turns? That's what I'm really keeping my eye keen on. And these two corners, I think for both teams, corner is in play. Jackson Smith and Jigba went to Los Angeles. All of the receivers are going. Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith quit. They're going. And I really want Baltimore to get a receiver. May have to trade up if they want to do something like that. But right here, corner is also in play. Marcus Peters may be out that door. 25, Osiris Torrance. I don't have them. There's really a lot of people having a lot of different things for the Seahawks. I just say you plug and play Osiris Torrance. All pro potential at the guard position. Day one, he's a dog. All right, he's huge. You got Abraham Lucas. You got Charles Cross. You add him. Kenneth Walker is running for days. We're talking maybe even 1,500 yards rushing season. Geno Smith, if you bring him back, whatever you do with that, all the throwing lanes needed. So, Brian Brzee to Dallas. A lot of people are talking about Bijan Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, and when they say that, I just go to sleep. All right, I just go to sleep when I hear those conversations. It's not, no. Bijan Robinson, your running backs next season is going to be your running backs next season will be Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know if you don't like that, but that's what I see being a very realistic situation for Dallas. I have my guy, Brian Brzee. The tape, people say the tape went down this year. Has some off the field things he had to deal with. We have to respect that. But as far as a football player, when we saw him at his peak for Clemson, top 5 pick, I would have put him in that same conversation with Jalen Carter. I already said that. So I can't sleep on Brian Brzee. We scramble for Jonathan Hankins. We need more on the interior. Now we got Lawrence. We got Parsons, of course, Dante Fowler, all of those guys. But Brian Brzee being that key best player on the interior, and then we got the other guys to help with him, I think that's perfect for Dallas. Dak Prescott, you don't get your receiver, you don't get Jalen Hyatt, the speedster. You need to step it up. Don't try to get receivers. You need to step it up. 29, this was the interesting thing. Oh, before I get to that, Bijan Robinson to Buffalo. I don't know how you feel about that. I like Osiris Torrance to Buffalo. He got picked. So Bijan Robinson was next in play for me. Like I said, also comment below what you think about these picks. It's interesting. Just some talking points. Draft Combine may change a lot of this. But 29, I scrambled. This took me all day. I've been working on this mock draft for about 3-4 days. And this was what took me the longest. I had my mock draft. I had my top 25. And then I got to the New Orleans Saints and I got stumped. Is Marcus Davenport coming back? The cap space is terrible. Alvin Kamara, what's his situation? Is Jahmyr Gibbs in play? I think he is. But I just went Josh Downs. I think Jameis Winston, a year of OTAs, a year of training camp, I think he's going to be good. I think they're contending for a playoff spot, especially in a bad division. Josh Downs, Michael Thomas, hopefully he stays healthy. Chris Olave, I don't know what the situation with Jarvis Landry exactly is, if he's even going to be on this team. So I had to go with a player, kind of a value pick, kind of best on board type pick. Good player. We know what we're getting. Slot guy. Not really going to be a number one guy, I don't think. But we get him in the slot. He's going to work. It's just not a lot of questions. It's just not a lot of ceiling there as far as being a guy that jumps off, being one of the best receivers in the league. I think he's a slot guy. Consistent, good production. Number 30, I got Lucas Van Ness to Philly. Lucas Van Ness dropped in this mock draft. I think Lucas Van Ness or Myles Murphy. Lucas Van Ness can easily go 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. Myles Murphy can easily go 30 to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, with that being said, I think they have to add edge, impact players. He can come in. He's going to impact, stop the run right away. And like I said, can work on that, can work with, whoever they have. They got Josh Sweat. Of course, they got Hassan Reddick. Who do they have on the interior coming back? I think they lean towards keeping Hargrave and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I talked about that earlier. So, I feel good with this pick. Adding depth to the edge, stopping the run. Defense has to be in play. I'm not big on stashing players, like I said. So offensive line is not in play for me here. Running back would be in play. Jahmyr Gibbs is in play. Bijan Robinson, I don't think you're in the range to get him. Unless you trade up. But why would you trade up for a running back? I don't know about that. So I have Lucas Van Ness. Let me know what you think about that, Philly fans. Think he's a good pick. Darnell Wright to the Kansas City Chiefs, 31. It has to be a tackle. I don't know what Wiley or Orlando Brown is going to be next season. I don't even know if they're going to be here next season. Gotta go tackle. Gotta protect Mahomes. Trying to get back to the Super Bowl. We can't do that without pass protection. It can either be, and really, realistically, Darnell Wright doesn't have to be the guy. It could be Jalen Duncan, maybe even DeJuan Jones. Luke, Matthew Bergeron. It could be, it's just, it has to be tackle for me. And I'm going to leave you with that. Those are my talking points for this mock draft. Let me know what you think. As always, comment below. Thank you for watching. And that's going to do it. So now, we out.